You have just recently taken over the children's ministry here at GBFPC.
Yes, sir.
Which is super exciting.
Yep.
It's an important ministry. It's there's a lot of foundational work done in this ministry in children's lives that go on into their youth, into their adulthood.
Forever, yep.
When did you first feel the burden for children's ministry?
Yeah, so I think where I really got the start for bus ministry was in bus ministry for the children. I felt like I grew up on the bus, honestly. My dad, we grew up in Fresno, moved here in Bakersfield in 2007. And in Fresno, it was bus ministry. That's what it was about. And so literally, I mean, my dad was a bus driver. They were my parents, Sunday school teachers. So just growing up in that environment, you become aware that's just your life. That's just what you do.
Yeah.
So go from Fresno, we moved here in Bakersfield 2007, and I immediately just jumped into bus ministry. So take over a route, the Willows, which is the apartment complex over across Columbus.
I remember that, yeah.
And that was my route. That was my baby. That was my thing. And so going over there, doing bus ministry, watching kids come to Sunday school, and then grow into a ministry. Living testimonies, I like to talk about it. Tiana, you're one of them.
Mm-hmm.
She comes from the bus ministry. I remember picking her up. I remember going to her house, picking her up. I mean,
wow.
And so she's here today, right? Jamal, he's teaching Sunday school. It's like, that's a full circle.
That's amazing.
I was talking to Jamal Sunday, and he's like, he didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave and take the kids back home because he was like, they don't get to have this all the time. They don't get to, and he knows, right? He was at the Willows. He was 6, 7 years old. I don't know how old he is now, but I don't throw him under the bus. But yeah, I just crazy. God, brought him in, and now he's teaching Sunday school. He's driving a bus. He's driving a van.
That's amazing.
So just those stories and seeing, so being raised in it, doing that, man, you have nothing. It just, God puts that burden in your heart. And I really feel like it's one of those things that you almost have to do to really get that burden. Not saying that God can't just plant it on your heart. I believe that can be a thing, but you see it, you live it, you watch it, you're a part of it. Yeah. It's a part of your life. And that's where that burden just grows.
Yeah. So it's a lot of work.
It is.
It's a lot of work. So it needs to be something that's planted in you.
Yeah.
And I actually reached out to you a long time ago about starting a bus ministry, and we never got anywhere, where I was. But you're right; it's a lot of work. It takes someone that's super passionate about it. And Tiana, I didn't know that you were part of the bus ministry.
Yeah, I was. I think I started riding the bus when I was 14, and I stayed on the bus until I was, I think, 19.
Until she started driving the bus. She went from being picked up to just driving a van.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's really cool. Yeah. There's a lot of great testimonies, I'm sure.
I think it's just funny. You get over in an area, that area becomes yours, right?
Yeah.
The Willows just it was like my baby. Like Saturdays where I was at the Willows. That's what I did. I went over there, knocked on doors. I remember, this is a funny story, but I became the church man, whatever. I feel like I'm too small to be a man, but especially at that time. So I became the church man. So people knew me. People, you went around, people knew who you were. This guy runs up to me one day, and they know you as the church man. So I think I was 16 or 17 at the time, but he runs up to me and he's like, "Hey man, I'm about to kill somebody. He's like, I need you to pray for me." And so I'm like, I just lay my hands on him and just start praying for him. And I don't know, hopefully he didn't kill nobody, but just, that area becomes yours. Yeah. And, funny stories from that, and just became life. It became something that was just I was a part of, and that's really where the start began.
Yeah, you made that impact on them. I wouldn't know what to do if I was 16
I don't think I knew
old.
What to do.
Well, you did the right thing.
Yeah. Well, definitely God's helping.
Yeah.
It's definitely not just going and picking kids up and bringing them to church. There's definitely a connection that's built between the driver and the kids. Yeah. And then not only that, but then when you really get a burden for the kids, then you want to do everything you can to really help them out and let them see like the other side of things.
Yeah, I remember like going into homes. There was a particular home that the mom, man, I don't know what she was doing at night or what was going on in their life and the circumstance, but I remember the kids, you knock on the door, the kids would literally open the door. And I'm talking, these kids are like 5, 6, 7 years old. They'd open the door and they would be kind of halfway ready. Their clothes would be there. I remember going in, helping them, get them ready for church, and just the craziness that you see. I was raised in church. That I was definitely a blessed life and didn't get to see what that wasn't my life. So seeing that, it's like, my goodness. People are really going through some things that, and so watching God pull people out of that is just amazing, and wanting to be a part of that is just really cool.
So is this what kind of led you into taking over the children's ministry?
Definitely. This is where my
the passion,
outreach, bus ministry, kids. I have 5 kids of my own, so just wanting to see the foundation set early. Is definitely that.
So now that you're leading that children's ministry. What is your vision for the ministry going forward?
Yeah, so I truly believe in setting a mission statement. And so one of the things that we've done early on, we brought a committee together of people, Sister Sonia, Brother Drew Fields, Randy and Diana Newton, which were there when we first started T-Rockets years and years ago. They're back involved in it, which are my mother and father-in-law, Brother Josiah Winkler, people that are passionate about kids ministry. We created this committee, got together, started brainstorming ideas, what to do, how to do it. So one of the first things we did was created the mission statement. And I believe in creating a mission statement for the reason of unifying all the bodies. Kick Ministries exist of T-Rockets, Kick Choir, Sunday School, Kick Youth Activities, Level Up. There's all of these things, right? And so bringing those, how do we take all of these things that are acting at one point as different arms, right? How do we bring all of these things, unify them together for one goal, right? Yeah. So I'll just tell you what our mission statement is, but our mission statement is Kick Ministries exist to seek, keep, and save our children and their families. So just to explain what that is, so the seeking part is the bus ministry, the outreach part. We're seeking to bring kids in. And obviously that's highly important, but that's not the only part. So then the keeping part is to keep our babies and keep our children that are here. And make sure that they're filled with the Holy Ghost. They're being a part of, children's church and activities that we're doing here. And then saving them is really, obviously God's the one that saves them, but us providing an environment where they can be filled with the Holy Ghost. They can see how we live. What's the right way to live? What's the right way to do things? So really seeking, keeping, and saving our children and their families. Let's all go after that one goal. And so that's really where the vision kind of starts. And obviously saying, I have my own children. So wanting the foundation, I truly believe in what you said when we started this, which was the foundation set early provides them with something that will keep them forever. I think Proverbs 22 talks about setting that foundation and train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he won't depart from it. That right there, if you can set the foundation at a young age, my babies, watching my babies speak in tongues down at the altar and watching them be a part of something is just, so doing those things, that's the vision. The vision is to provide the best activities, the best children's church, the best choir, the best environments for these kids. So not only bus ministry, if it's just about seeking and you can't keep them, then you're not doing the whole mission, right?
Right.
Yep.
So seeking, keeping, and saving, doing everything we can do to do all the parts of children's ministry. That's the vision. And the vision is to just see these babies saved.
Yeah.
So
I was talking with Bryce Cosme in the last episode, and he was telling his testimony. And he said he had gone to other Sunday schools and different churches and didn't feel anything. But when he came here, and he was, I think, 12 or 13, he had said, he said it wasn't like we're going to go play games.
No.
I mean, there is that part.
There's that part of it, for sure.
But
where do we
yeah,
interject the real thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And he said he felt this
because you can go do that anywhere, right?
Exactly.
You can go play games in any church around town. Like they've probably got pretty good Sunday school, around town, right? Sure, but they don't have what we have. Yeah. And if we're only showing them the games and the fun and the whatever it is, which they love that, the kids want that and they love that, right? But if we're only showing them that, then we're definitely not And so one of the things that I'm super excited about is as a kid, and maybe this is just my mind because I'm big dummy, I don't know, but I remember more children's church services than I do regular services. I don't know, like maybe it was just because they were trying to scare us to live for God. I don't know, you know, like just the skits and the stuff, and you're like, oh my goodness, I think I got it. I need the Holy Ghost, you know. But I just remember those. And so one of the things what we're starting very soon, kind of releasing it, but is children's church on Tuesday nights. So every Tuesday night there's going to be children's church. So kind of giving the parents a break from in the main church and giving an opportunity for these kids to hopefully go to that deeper place. You know, I know a lot of, I actually got the Holy Ghost in church in a regular service, but a lot of my friends, a lot of my, I know Trent, my brother, he got the Holy Ghost in children's church. I think children's church is a place where these kids can be themselves. They can also hopefully go to a deeper spot and feel something. And so that's why I'm excited about children's church so much, is because the impact it had on my life as a kid. And remembering that even into my 30s and knowing how big of an impact that had.
And
exciting.
I was saying about setting the strong foundation. I grew up in the church as well. And so for me, my parents instilled in me going to church, being faithful, reading his word, living for God. And that has stuck with me forever. And I've never had a thought of leaving, not because I feel like that's not forced. I don't want to say that, but like I have to be here. I want to be here.
Exactly.
And
well, that's the thing, is it becomes exciting. I was actually going to say that was just sake that hopefully this is just making what you're saying better, but just saying the sake that I've never thought about backsliding. Like that never crossed my mind. I was raised in church. That was the thing. I never thought about backsliding because this was the best thing. And so if we can set that foundation, let's make this the best thing going. And I think that's the point, is let's, God, this ministry, if we can create some amazing things with some amazing teams and amazing people, and God is the center of it, then I believe that we can set that foundation. So it's exciting.
That is very exciting. When now looking back at the mission statement of Kick, there was a part of the seek part. What can we do to take the ministry of soul winning, of outreach to that next level?
So I think one of the things that I was always passionate about was knocking doors. So, and I know there's a lot of fancy ways to reach people, Instagrams and social medias and a lot of those things. And I think there's a reason for a lot of those things. There's a big reason for a lot of those things. I do believe that knocking doors is tried and true. The human element of that, just you being face to face with somebody, creating a relationship. In business, you wouldn't want to just do advertising or whatever. You want to put a face to
reach somebody in the vicinity, because with social media, you reach people, but not always just in this area.
Exactly.
You reach people, which is
great.
Thing. Yeah. It's awesome.
So in saying that, I always thought, and I guess I'll go back. I always thought knocking doors was like, that's outreach. Like there's no other parts to it. And it was like, that's the thing you knock doors and then you pick them up and that's what you do. So what happens after that, right? I think so. One of the things that has hit me really hard, me and Pastor were actually talking about this a couple weeks ago, but the Brother Bryce Cosme actually had a podcast, Project 39 podcast. I want to say it was about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. But where he talked to a minister, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he talked about the Navy SEAL being the door knocker. And every Navy SEAL, if the Navy SEAL is the door knocker, every Navy SEAL needs 30 people, 30 support soldiers to support him in like everything he does. It was kind of crazy. I never knew that, but 30 support soldiers just to support the one Navy SEAL. So if he's the special forces, you need 30 people to help him do what he's supposed to do. And so it's been really heavy on my mind lately. Like, what can we do to take soul winning to another level? What can we do to win the lost? What can we do to reach more? And I think my first initial was like, let's just knock doors. Like, and that's great. But if you don't have other parts to it, you knock all the doors you want and you don't reach them. And so one of the things that really hit me hard was sitting down a couple nights ago, about a couple weeks ago now, time flies, but, and was reading Matthew chapter 9 everybody knows the scripture. I believe it's the verse 35 talks about the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to think about what is a harvest? What is a true harvest? And how do we fulfill a true harvest? Started thinking about how you start a harvest. You sow the seed, right?
Right.
So you sow the seed, then the crop grows, then somebody goes and picks that crop. And after that, you pick the crop and somebody pack the crop. You're packing it away for somebody to go load it in a truck and then haul it, to the storage bin.
Yep.
Somebody's driving that. And so there's all these different pieces of that. If you just pick the crops in a harvest or in a field somewhere, and you just left them there and you didn't take them back, like, is that a true harvest?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, and so it hit me like, it's not just the one part. Like, there are so many parts to this. And I think where I'm trying to go with this is door knocking might not be everybody's strong suit.
Right.
They might feel nervous to do that. But I do believe, though, that everyone's been called to be a soul winner. I truly believe that. So if everyone is not a door knocker, how do we make sure that everyone has a part in the kingdom of God to being a soul winner? And so if we, maybe you're not the picker, maybe you're not the door knocker, maybe you're not the guy picking the crop, maybe you're not the guy hauling, but maybe you're, in a spiritual aspect, maybe you're a mentor, maybe you're a friend, maybe you are a van driver. Yeah. Maybe you are, if you can't get in front of a door and knock on the door and talk to somebody, maybe it's easier for you to sit down somewhere and teach them a Bible study.
Yeah.
Maybe, so there's all these parts to it of the full harvest.
Yeah.
The full harvest. If it's truly a harvest, there has to be a complete harvest, not just a half, like I said, leaving it in the field.
It has to be a full cycle.
A full cycle.
Yeah.
So I truly believe, and we're actually working on something right now, brainstorming on building kind of a layered system of all the different positions that need to be filled within what is the true harvest? Yeah. What is the full process of winning a soul? Maybe the door knocking is the first part. Second part is maybe you doing follow up. The thing is, maybe somebody's on a computer somewhere typing up the list for the people to call and do follow ups. There's so many pieces, and maybe this is me recruiting people right now, but
go for it.
But there's a lot of positions that need to be filled, and
Yeah.
so I truly believe. So one thing I know we're going to try to do: put this structure together, show all the different positions that need to be filled, and then present it to the church at some time and say, what position would you like to fill?
Yeah.
What if it's a prayer warrior, if you're the prayer warrior and you're just coming down on a Saturday afternoon or Saturday at 10 and you're just going to stay here and pray while the others go out, what's your position? Let's make sure that all of us are under one process, one goal, and we're here to win souls.
Yeah.
And I think if we can get under that all together and we can find a position that we can fill within that process, it will explode. Yeah. And I know I'm I would love for that but I believe God can make that happen. I believe if we can unify, we can do that. God will do the rest.
Right.
He'll provide the increase.
Yeah. And that's going to help, I think, people that may not be connected into the kingdom, into the church.
Yeah.
That is going to plug them in.
Yeah.
And there's, again, they may not want to be a door knocker.
Yeah.
But they could do something else.
Exactly.
That's going to still make that impact.
Yeah.
Be part of that cycle.
Yeah. That forever impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you started T-Rockets. You had mentioned you started T-Rockets with a few others years ago.
Years ago.
For those that don't know what T-Rockets is, can you explain what it is and how it got started?
Yeah. So again, I'm doing bus ministry and just kind of running wild with bus ministry. Kids are coming. It's exciting. Randy and Diana Newton, which now are my mother and father-in-law, had a burden to kind of provide something different for these kids, provide a breakfast, provide something different. So we started trying to kind of brainstorm and talk, and there was a few other people involved. And T-Rockets got started, I think it was, 2010, 2011 maybe. Don't get me on that date, but just combining the efforts of bus ministry and then providing mentoring, providing community, providing all of those things that we needed. And Pastor came up with the name T-Rockets, which was like, let's do it. Yeah. That's awesome. put it on the vans and those, and so just a combined effort to say, how do we go after the community? And what was crazy thing about T-Rockets was all the young people got involved. Yeah. It was crazy. You were involved. I was looking at a picture in Sister Sonia's office. Your brothers, the whole youth group was involved. Yeah. We had 5 or 6 teams. People were going out on Saturdays. It was a huge effort with the youth involved. And it was a lot of fun for me. Just seeing people. I think Jamal came through that. A lot of people. Yeah. You probably remember the T-Rocket vans coming to your house. And so it was exciting. T-Rockets was one of those things where totally a God thing, came out of nowhere. Yeah. I think it was inspired by to Randy and Diana by the Blue Bomb. I think they call themselves the Blue Bombers.
I think I remember.
San Jose, I think.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's San Jose, the Blue Bombers, and just having a cool name and kind of reaching out to the community and getting people excited and
what I like is
winning souls.
It was structure was brought to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you're bringing more structure with it, with Kick, and having everything branched underneath it with that mission statement.
Exactly. It's like they all acted as, for a long time, and not a bad thing, but they all acted as different kind of things. Even then, when we did the T-Rocket stuff, it was kind of T-Rockets was T-Rockets, Sunday school was Sunday school, and it was kind of both separate things. And so I think what's cool, and it's kind of full circle for me, is it's all coming back together.
Yeah.
And let's unify this, not because of me, but because this is a mission statement. This is a goal. Let's go after this. Let's win souls. Let's make sure these babies are saved. And I don't know, it's exciting.
Yeah. For those that are at a church that don't have a bus ministry, maybe they're thinking about it, what are some quick tips that you would have for someone that's thinking about doing that?
I would say just go out and try it. Go out and try it. One of the things is like I said earlier was it's hard to see unless you've done it.
Yeah. That's true.
And so going out, just try it, see what it's about. If you can get some young people fired up, and it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. So that's why young people are great for this. When we were in Fresno, I was 12, 13, 14. I was a co-captain. Maybe you're not a captain. Maybe you're not 18, 19 able to drive or be the main captain. But I was a co-captain at 13, 14 years old, just being a help, and you start getting excited for it. Yeah. So if you can get these young people and you can get them excited about an area, they can become friends with people. They start to grow this burden for that area. And if you can kind of segregate the areas, kind of separate them into some different sections, so it's not, let's just reach in Bakersfield, it's like, we can't reach all of it, so trying to go, okay, we're going to go a mile from our address, and we're going to separate these into 4 different areas. And then we're going to, send young people out into these areas, and they're going to catch up. They're just going to go out, and God's going to do the rest. They're going to catch a burden for it. They're going to find a love for it. Yeah. And if you can do that, get some young people fired up for those areas, they can become friends. They can want to be used. I think Brother Bryce Cosme talked about it. But if they can learn to be a soul winner first before they almost do anything else, there's something to that, man. There's something to that. And so bus ministry, that's T-Rockets, that's soul winning, man. That's the base of it. So,
It struck me, too, when he said that. I think it was in his last episode. Get that love for winning souls. Yeah. And everything else is going to follow with it.
Everything else will follow, Yeah.
You actually had a major impact on me. And that's why I reached out a couple years ago to ask for, I forgot what I asked, to be honest, for help starting the bus ministry there. And we never got anything going, but it had always stuck with me. Yeah. And when I had got up there, I think they were looking into different outreach ways of doing outreach. And that had stuck with me as a youth. I'd started doing it. And I remember you going every Sunday morning on your own. Like, where's Jordan? Oh, he's on his route. Like it helped me. Yeah. And I think it planted something to me as well. So you made a lot of impact, dude. And not just you, I know everybody else that was involved.
There was so many people involved.
Yeah. So you now going into more of a leadership point of view, you are the vice president of Safety Network, your company, your family's company. And I want to know if you had any tips for leaders or leading teams, not just here in the church, but outside, maybe at work or anything like that.
Yeah. So, so 2000, 10-ish, I took over our Bakersfield store. Kind of got handed in my lap. I was going a totally different direction, and God just does that sometimes. I have a criminal justice degree. That's where I was going. I was not doing traffic control.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm getting away from this business, this family business. Like, I don't want to be a part of it. And God's like, Holt, come. And so 2010, 18 years old, he just falls in my lap. And my dad just kind of said, all right, my dad was in Fresno doing his thing, running that location. And I was in Bakersfield, like, what do I do here? You know? And so you make a lot of errors.
Yeah.
I'm 18, leading a group, and failed a lot, messed up a lot. Thought I was, you have early success and kind of almost give yourself credit instead of God. And that was probably the big thing that I made the mistake in, was you have early success, you think you know it all, and you don't know it all. And so, failing as a leader, not listening when I needed to listen, finding out, wish I would have found out before then, but if you can just stop and listen sometimes to people, some good people, you can learn a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think as leaders, like you think you need to know it all. There's you think you just need to know it all. Like, especially as a male, like you're like, I gotta know. Somebody comes and asks you the question, you just pop off and say something, and you're like, that was like totally wrong, but you just think you need to be right. Yeah. And if you would sometimes let some other people just talk and let them give what they have to say. Yeah. You can learn something. Trying to grow. So I failed, and it's crazy kind of how it happened, but that's 2010. 2016, I get invited to this conference, leadership conference. And so I get invited, and I am not going to that leadership conference. They're not going to teach me nothing that I don't know, is my thought, right? Like, I know it all. I don't need to listen to anybody. And so begrudgingly went to it. And they start talking, and you start going, oh my goodness, I am a horrible leader. I don't know anything. And so I think that was the point where I was like, dude, you need to learn to grow, and I was so stuck in the way I did it, and my way worked. And so stuck in that I wasn't willing to grow or open up my ears to say, Jordan, listen, bro, listen for once. Yeah. And so, something that they said that there was a lot of stuff said, truly in just my leadership, of what I'm doing with our company, changed the trajectory of the way I led forever. And one of the things they asked was, why do you exist? Why does your business exist? And what's your why? Where are you going? What are you doing? And to that point, I feel like I was leading people, and I'm just going for it. I'm just bulldozing, right? And people are following, and like, where are you going? I don't know. Just follow me. Let's go this way. Let's go this way, and then let's go that way. And there's no set goal. There was no set mission statement. There's no set we're going here. This is what we're doing. Yeah. And so the why do we exist really stuck with me. And if I could help any leaders or anybody, it would be set a mission statement. Yeah. Set a mission statement. At Safety Network, our mission statement is to provide opportunities for our teams and their families to provide the best traffic control in California. And us just saying that, it's about providing opportunities. So that's our mission. So then everything we do is about that. I've already mentioned it before, but in Kick, we've set that. It's to seek, keep, and save our children and their families. It's about that. So you set that goal, and you go, we're going after that. That's what we're doing. And so it really just sets the one goal, one unity, one assertive goal mindset. And I truly believe in that. Yeah. Really believe in that. Another thing I got from that was creating a motto. Mottos are kind of, whatever, but at Safety Network, our mottos make it happen. Let's make it happen. Yeah. That's kind of what we live by. You just live by that motto. And it's easier to say. It's just a simple sentence, something simple. But you say, let's just make it happen. Yeah. If I don't hear that 2 or 3 times at work every day, it's like, well, I can't do this, and I don't know how to do that. Just make it happen. Just make it happen, bro. And people it just rings in people's ears.
Yeah, let's do it.
So in Kick, we kind of did the same thing, which is it's about the kids. And we actually stole that from Sister Sonia because she always said that and she's the leader for Sunday school. And it's about the kids. So, it's kind of like people aren't getting along. Teams sometimes don't get along, people, whatever. Right. And you're like, hey, you guys, it's about the kids. It's not about us. It's about them.
Yeah.
And so you set that goal and you always point towards that.
Yeah.
And I'm a big proponent of putting it on the walls, putting it on like everywhere. Like we have it up on our walls, just make it happen. And people just walk in, they're like, what's that? Oh, we just make it happen around here. And people know it, they walk out the doors of so we're going to remodel Sunday school in the summer sometime, just do some things. And I plan on putting it up on the walls everywhere. Just, it's about the kids, and just a reminder saying, hey, where are you going? What are you doing? Why do you exist?
Yeah.
And it's saying, hey, we're going there. Yeah. If you want to get on this wagon and you want to go with us and you want to win some souls and you want to be about the kids, jump on.
Yeah.
If you're not a part of this mission statement and you don't want to be a part of this goal, then, maybe you might need to find something different to do. And sometimes that's hard, but let's go after that.
Right.
We're going after that. And in doing that, we need healthy teams.
Right.
And that's kind of what healthy teams, going after one goal. We've seen growth in our company. I mean, exponentially because of God, putting God at the center and having one mission.
Right.
It's not about money. It's not about fame. It's not about who you are, what you can do. It's about God, and it's about this, and it's about opportunities. If it's about that goal, so for Kick, if it's not about you, it's not about us. It's about God. It's about winning these babies. It's about saving the lost. And so, one goal, one assertive goal.
Yeah.
That's my leadership tip. I don't know, how well, but that's really what changed the trajectory for our company.
Yeah.
And I hope with the help of God, for Kick Ministries, is the unifying the bodies, going after one mission, one goal, and doing it together with a healthy team. So
any successful company has a mission statement.
Yep.
I work in a large corporate setting, and that's big for large corporates.
Yeah.
An objective, the long term, 5-10 years down the road, but also mottos and things like that.
So between those things, setting goals, if you don't set a goal, I never had like set revenue goals in our company before then. It was like, oh, just do whatever you can do this year. And you're like, well, where are we going to get to?
Exactly.
I don't know. Just do everything you can do.
Exactly.
And then, so setting that goal and then going after it is huge. And so.
Awesome. Well, we only have a few minutes left, but I wanted to know if you have any, testimonies that you wanted to share in closing here.
I think the biggest testimony for me, and I know you kind of mentioned it earlier about yourself, but I think one of the biggest testimonies for me is God kept me. I was raised in church. You see a lot of my friends that were in Fresno, that we were teenagers together, they're not living for God anymore. And, and that's sad, and God can bring them back. And I believe in that. But mine is, as a teenager, you go through a lot of things, you do a lot of stupid stuff. And because of Sunday school, because of some of these things, the foundation was set early. God kept me. And I truly believe setting that foundation, what my parents put into me as a kid, no matter what I went through, circumstances I went through, those things that were set early kept me.
Right.
And thank God for that.
Yeah.
I will say though, like no matter what, you're going to go through some stuff.
Yeah.
And God has a way of testing you, to make sure, especially if you're leading or if you're going to do something for God, you're like, I want to be a minister. Well, you better expect to go through some things, right? You better expect you want to do something for God. And especially you're winning souls, you're doing something, you're impacting this world. Mm-hmm. God's like, I want to make sure that you're ready. I want to make sure that you're set. And I remember going through some things as an adult and just wondering why. Yeah. Why, like I've been a good kid all my life. I've done, what, and you're asking God why. And so I think, just to sake that, you ask God why, and God's like, He's got you in His hands.
Yeah.
He knows why, and so trusting Him and knowing that God's got you in His hands, whatever, you be faithful to God. You be faithful to God. You show up. You do your thing. And one of the things that I learned was, I think a lot of times throughout different circumstances that you have in life, may it be your parents let you down, may it be your spouse let you down, may it be somebody didn't raise you right, somebody did you wrong. Mm-hmm. There's a big time notion as a person. I think it's just a flesh thing. It's just to point the finger at everybody else and just say, they did me wrong and they did this to me and all of these things. And one of the things that I think literally changed that my testimony and where God's taken me and then full circle for me is when Jordan started pointing the finger back at himself and started going, bro, it's you.
Yeah.
You're the problem. Fix you. Put your life in my hands. Let's fix you. You can't grow if you don't point the finger back at yourself.
Right.
And if you want to grow, there's going to be some times you're going to have to take some hard looks at yourself and go, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
Because I got to be at least part of the problem here.
Yeah.
And so saying that, doing that is what I believe has kept me. And hopefully that encourages someone to just say, hey, maybe you need to point the finger at yourself and go, hey, I'm telling you, you do that, God will start turning things around. You start making it about not everybody else and you're pointing the finger at everybody else and you say, God, fix me, just do something in my life. I want to be used. I want to be somebody for you. I'm ready to change. I think being ready to change, being ready to point the finger at yourself is like the first step to just saying, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, let's be used.
It's powerful.
And so that's my testimony, and just hopefully that can help somebody. So
that's amazing. I mean, everyone's going to go through things, but he will never leave you nor forsake you.
He'll never leave you. Be faithful to him.
Yes.
And he'll never leave you. Promise.